Hello YouTube, welcome to another JavaScript tutorial, JavaScript number 8. This one is just using JavaScript and CSS with the help of CSS to simulate a bar chart. Okay, it's not as fancy, but hey, it gets the job done. Okay, so you have different values, okay, different height that represents different values. Okay, sample data. Alright, I'm telling you guys, man, JavaScript, just like I said in my last tutorial, JavaScript is just knowing how to use tricks, math tricks mostly. Okay, alright, let's see the code. Alright, so here's the HTML, again, short and sweet. You know, I try not to, I don't know, maybe I should stop. I've said enough. You guys know I like simple stuff. Alright, so here's the CSS. Okay. Alright, so with this color, now we have a class in the CSS. What the heck is this? Oh, this is a typo. Let me erase that. Okay, let me make sure that did not affect anything. Yep, okay. Alright, so sorry about that, yo. So that's the CSS. Alright, cool. You guys can read through it. We're using position of absolute. So we start with the width of 0, so which means nothing shows, and then we use JavaScript to dynamically determine the width, how far away from each other, because if we don't have the margin left, everything, all these will be all on top of each other. Okay, so using the margin left tells us how far away from this line it should be away. So each bar is dynamically, or is used to dynamically determine how far away from here it is. Okay, all right, so let's go to the JavaScript file. So we have our sample data, okay, right here. So we have, now this can scale. This can scale. So let's see if we added some numbers, some more numbers. Let's say I don't know, 68 comma 42 comma 12. Okay, so I just add a couple numbers. Let's save that. You'll see something. You'll see that this dynamically resizes itself to make sure it fits between from here to here. So let's reload it. Alright, if we reload it, you see it resized itself. Nice, huh? I know. JavaScript is sweet. Okay, so we have our function, draw bar chart. So we need the data set, which will be an array, which is that we're passing. You pass it numbers and it draws it. That's all this function is basically doing. Okay, we have to make sure that what we're being passed is an object. An array is an object. In fact, in JavaScript, everything is an object. Alright, so if we don't pass anything, then don't draw anything. So this is where the magic happens, right here, in this for loop. So within this for loop, based on however many stuff we have in our data set, tells us how many bars to draw. So if we have 10 data points, then it draws 10 bars. Get it? Okay. Alright, so for every pass, what it does, it creates a div. It applies a class to it, which is, if you guys remember from CSS, it was this class right here. It gives it a position of absolute, a width of 0, with a margin left of 0, and a top of 0. Okay, so now here's what stuff happens. The dynamic attributes. So here for the margin left, okay, we take we take the width of the bar. How did we get the width of the bar? The width of the bar is right here. Determine the width of each bar based on the number of data in the set. So if you guys notice, we added more data sets, so you saw that the width of the bar got skinnier. And then if we reduce the number of these, then it will get bigger. So it just dynamically resizes itself to make sure it fits within this width over here. Okay. All right. So here we tell it how far away, okay, from away from it is from the left, how high it should be based on the number of the width of itself, and how far from the top it should go. Because if you notice in HTML, everything starts from the top left and then goes down. So to get this where all of them are all sitting on this line right here, we need to affect the top attribute. So if we didn't have the top attribute, this bar right here will be right here. It'll be all up, it'll look like it was upside down. Basically, that's all I'm trying to say. Okay, so we do that. Then once we create virtually whatever this is, then we append it to the div element of chart container. What is chart container? Chart container was the main container, which is this big old box right here. This one with the borders of black right here. Okay, so you draw everything and then you paste it in this area. Again, just tricks, knowing what you're doing. That's all it is. I hope I didn't confuse you guys. But basically, just to summarize, all this is doing is you have this empty box, okay, this empty box with the right border showing and the bottom border showing. Again, this is to simulate the axis. You have the y-axis and the x-axis. So since we have this box over here, then everything just fits within that box. But let's see, let's just change the background of this box so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So if we go to our CSS, I believe the box was, I think it's div 1. Yeah, I think it's div 1. So instead of white, let's make it a light gray. I hope this shows well. Save it and let's reload. There we go. So maybe you guys can see this better. Yeah, I think this is even better. So now you can see that everything fits within this box. So if I added more values, which let's add some more values. So let's say 20, 95, 32. Okay, and then we save it. Let's reload it. Now you'll see that everything will fit in here. Now, one person might ask, okay, how do you know, what if it goes higher over here? Well, theoretically it can, but if you also, I didn't do this, but if you really wanted to get smart, you could take the height of this and say, okay, whatever this height is, the ratio has to be the same for all of them. That way it never goes above this, but the numbers just, dynamically change themselves. I hope that makes sense. So in other words, it's just like in fraction. 1 divided by 2 is the same as 2 divided by 4, or 4 divided by 8. It's still the same ratio. It's just that the numbers keep increasing or decreasing, whichever way you want to go. So now let's reload this. We added some more numbers, if you guys remember. So if we reload it, you see that it just dynamically fits in there. If we delete some numbers, so let's say we delete some, let's just delete these numbers here. Okay, save it. If we reload it, you see now the width gotten bigger, but they all still fit within this. It's all messing, basically it's all messing with ratio. That's all it is. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed it. It's real simple, and the link to download these files are in the description. Sorry, that's my phone vibrating, if you guys can hear that. Alright, thanks.